Okay, now we're live. Let's try this again. I was experiencing some technical difficulties. All right. Sorry, I was experiencing some technical difficulties, but I think we got it figured out. I think so. So, all right, I'm back in effect. I apologize, folks. My fault. My fault. So, what up, love? How you doing, brother? Yeah, Jonas, you was telling me why that's what we were talking about, why Chris Paul is overrated. And I'm listening. Yes, we are back. Yes, we are. I do think Bron has a better IQ than Magic. Would you rather go to the Super Bowl, best seats, or Game 7 NBA courtside? Well, I've said pretty close during playoff games, but going to the Super Bowl would be an experience that I'll never be able to equate anything else to. So yeah, I would love to do something like that, no doubt. Who's higher? Russ is higher than CP3. He was a league MVP. You know, you guys put this triple-double thing in such a high regard, and he's had 4 seasons where he's averaged a triple-double. So he's not the defender that Chris Paul was. He's not as smart as Chris Paul, in my opinion, but I absolutely think that in terms of the rankings, he would be higher on the list than Chris Paul. Running good, Jay. Day's going good. Renowned electrician. I like hearing that. All right, good. All right, that's really good. Yes, I'm back, Jillian. Yes, I am. The Ball brothers are going to be around for the next 12 to 15 years, and they're going to be franchise changes. They are. I think Lonzo's going to be really good up in Chicago. I think he's going to give them a dynamic that they didn't have last year. That's a long ball shooter. That's a distributor. That's a defender, a bigger guard, and a better playmaker at that position. And I think that LaMelo, I think he's a franchise player. And I think Jordan struck gold with him. No, Jake, I'm not. I've never – the problem with fantasy football is that I've never understood it. And that's why I've never really gotten into it. You ask me who's the top 10 players if they played a game. Not every quarter of 82 games. I don't know if I understand that. Just looking at his past, Chris Paul has always been failing. He never reached the finals before last season, where he flopped. When I saw Game 4 of the final, I got disgusted with the way he played. Now, in his defense, Jonas, I don't know if he flopped. He went 22-5. I'm sorry, he went 22-8. And he went up against the best, in my opinion, he went up against the best perimeter defender in the game. So you're basing his performance strictly off the playoffs, not what he's done throughout his career. Because when we talk about all time, that's what you're basing it off of. You're basing it strictly off of what he's done in the playoffs. All right. Hot take hockey. Can we talk about my Devils for a minute? Can we do that? Can we talk about my New Jersey Devils, who I was out after Marty was gone? I was a big fan when we had Niedermeyer. I was a big fan when we had Marty. I think we held on to Marty longer than we should have. But we were the class of the Eastern Conference, won the NHL championship a number of different times. I still, to this day, believe that believe that Marty's the best goalkeeper that I've ever seen. To this day, I really feel like that. But I haven't watched. When we lost to Russian, that's when I was out. When we went back to Russia, that completely wrecked us. Nah, Wilt, in my opinion, Wilt is not over Kareem. And the reason why is because Kareem did it longer. Kareem played at a high level for a longer period of time. No, CP3 wasn't the best player in 09. The best player in 09 was LeBron. He actually, the season that James had in 09 was the same season that Giannis had in 19 when he won the league MVP. So I love Marcus Smart. I actually thought that the Celtics were going to move him, and I thought that they were going to get a better scorer, but they didn't, and I was surprised about that. They will underperform in the playoffs, and that Bill Russell dominated him and locked him up. Well, his numbers did go down against Bill Russell, which sounds ridiculous. The fact that, he averaged 28, he averaged almost 30 and 30 against Russell. But those weren't, his numbers went down against Russell. Russ was on better teams. Chamberlain in the playoffs, he sacrificed a lot too. In the playoffs against the year they won the NBA championship in 72, he went almost 20 and 25 in that playoffs. And he sacrificed scoring strictly because that wasn't needed on that crew. So no, Joshua. Being a steals leader, there's more to being an all-league defender than just being a steals leader. Because remember the year he won the league MVP unanimous, I think he averaged like 35 minutes a game that year. And if I'm playing 35 minutes a game, right? I think he averaged almost over 2 steals a game. I could get in the passing lane and I can get 1 steal. I can do that every night. I can get in the passing lane and I can get 1 steal. If I'm out there long enough, somebody's going to give me the ball. I'm a smart enough defender that at some point, somebody's going to screw up and give me the ball. There's your second steal right there. Does that make me an all-league defender? No, absolutely not. For a long time, I had Jimmy Butler over Clay. I did, because I thought that the only thing that Clay did better than Jimmy Butler was shoot the long ball. I thought Jimmy Butler was just as good at him at everything else, and he was a better defender. I think Giannis is a better player than Anthony Davis. I do. Top 5 point guards ever: Magic, Stockton, Isaiah, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash. I don't put Steph Curry. I don't put Allen Iverson in the point guard conversation. I don't put them in the shooting guard conversation. They're in a different conversation. Completely different. Completely different. I still think that Devin Booker and the Donovan Mitchell, that's one of those, there's not really much of a difference between those two guys. I think Book is a more fluent scorer. I think Book is a better. I can't say he's a better athlete. I think Mitchell's a better athlete. I think Mitchell's a better playmaker. I think he shoots the long ball slightly better. There's really not, when you ask me about players like that, there's really not much. There's really not a big difference between those guys. When you're talking about guys like Book and Olajuwon and Shaq, when you ask about guys like that, there really isn't much of a difference between those guys. So Book is not booty. No, he's better than that, my man. That's not true. I think they're going to have a difficult time, Fuga. I think they're going to have a really difficult time getting back because the Western Conference, these guys are going to come back better this season, and it's just going to be a different season this year. And I think that the Phoenix Suns, I do think that they finish in the top 5 in the West, but I think they're going to have a difficult time getting back, though. I do. I think Book is better than Zach LaVine. I do. I don't think, and again, that's one of those situations where that's not that much of a difference. I think LaVine's a better athlete. I just think he's a little bit better. What you got, J. Cole? I'm not ready to throw Trey out there yet. I'm not. He ain't ready. And contrary to what everybody's talking about with Chicago is doing the right thing with Justin Fields. He ain't ready yet. And the last thing that I want to do with my 49ers is throw Trey out there and he's not ready and screw him up and only have 2 or 3 years with him. When we wasted, when now we have the number 2 pick, which was wasted, and stuff like that could set your franchise back years. So, and of course he looks good. He should look good. He's already got a number of different. He's got a number of different games under his belt. Yo, Sundays are different, man. When the season starts, these guys get after rookies. And if you don't remember nothing, remember this. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for 4 years. Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith for a season. Steve Young sat behind Joe Montana. There's nothing wrong with sitting behind somebody for a year. I think Eli Manning could have stood to sit behind Kurt Warner for that season. He wasn't ready. Just so you know, when Kurt Warner went out the lineup, they had a winning record. So Eli comes in and they don't make the playoffs. So I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that these guys aren't going to be great. I'm just saying, what's the rush? Why are we rushing them? My 49ers did the same thing with Cat. Alex Smith was doing great. I mean, when Alex got hurt against the Arizona Cardinals, just so you guys know, he was 18 for 22 that day. Rolled his ankle. He got hurt. Cap comes in. Cap takes over. Ends up taking us to the bowl game that year. And then we go to the NFC Championship again the next year. That was it for Cap after that. He had, 2 more seasons? So we basically got 3.5 years out of Cap. That was it. That was it. Analyst saying he would be top 5 guard if he won a ring. I don't think that, and I think that's blasphemy too, Jonas. So I do not think that I do not see where, even if Chris Paul would have won, if they would have won the NBA championship, I still didn't see him as a top 5 point guard all time. I didn't. No. Kobe is 4th all time. Wow. All right. Yes, Jillian, I am a Kittle fan. Yes, I am. Because I was a big Vernon Davis fan. I dig the tight end because the tight end brings a different dynamic to the offense. What he does is that when the tight end is good, he puts so much pressure on the linebackers. He puts so much pressure on the secondary. Rob Gronkowski, one of the main reasons why the Patriots were so good was because of Rob Gronkowski. Because he was big enough to deal with linebackers. But when he gets into the secondary, that 6'1", that 6'1" cornerback, you got Rob Gronkowski barreling down on you. He does not want to tackle him. He doesn't. And going one-on-one against him is impossible. So when I think about Kittle, when I think about him, I think about what he brings to the offense. I think about how he stretches the D, and I'm digging him. What's up, Max? Good to see you, brother. I'm digging him, and I'm digging what he brings for us. He's got to stay healthy, though, man. If he can stay healthy, no question about it. That's different, T-Mac. I can dig that, absolutely. No question about it. You know, you grew up watching this dude. So, of course, that's how you feel about him. No doubt. Kid was a monster, yo. Absolutely he is. Kid was an absolute monster. Our running game, I'm with Mozart, man, our running game is, if it can stay solid. I mean, we lost a bunch of guys on that defensive line. You know, we lost Quan Alexander last season or the year before last. So we lost a couple of different guys. So if we can just shore up this defense, Sherm's going too. So that I'm what I'm concerned about the most. I'm concerned about Jimmy G staying upright. I'm concerned about Jimmy G staying upright, and I'm concerned about our defense being able to hold up. Jerry West was a primary ball handler. Jerry West. I'm sorry. Reggie Miller is not a top, in my opinion, Reggie Miller is not a top 5 shooting guard. My top 5 shooting guards are Jordan, Bryant, Wade, Harden, Drexler. Those are my top 5 shooting guards. I think that Patty Mills brings a different dynamic to the New Jersey Nets. He gives them another long ball shooter. He gives them another perimeter defender. He gives them another ball handler. He gives them another playmaker. So, yes, I do think that he makes them better. What you mean, random? What did I miss? I missed something. Did I miss something? Who's better than everybody in my top 5 after Magic and Curry? Who's better than everybody in my top 5 after Magic and Curry? I don't think that the Lakers need to be honest with you, I don't think that they need to sign anybody. Jerry West is better than everybody after Magic and Curry. I don't think so. I don't think Jerry West was. Well, first of all, I don't think Jerry West was a point guard. Because he was another one. Even though he was the primary, he was their primary ball handler. He was different where he did a lot for them offensively in terms of scoring. They had really good teams though. But that doesn't matter. I don't think Jerry West was a better point guard than John Stockton. I do not. I do not think that Jerry West was a better point guard than Isaiah Thomas. I do not. Mm-mm. I think John Stockton, when they went to the finals in 1987, he was 34 and 35. So he was on the other side. So that 12 points and 8 assists, make sure that you mention that, he was on the other side of his prime. In fact, in the 97 and the 98 season, that was on the other side of his prime. So it wasn't like he was in year 8. And Stockton was never really a buckets guy anyway. That wasn't his game. So those years that he ran with Gail Goodrich, he played the point guard. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So those years that he ran with Gail Goodrich when he was with the Lakers early in his career, he played the point guard all of those years. So I think Jerry West averaged something like 25 and 6, 25 and 7 for his career. Yeah, 25 and 7 for his career. He was buckets. He was absolute buckets, no doubt. Good, Cam. How you running? 27-6 for his career. Yeah. Kept running into the Celtics. Kept running into. Jerry West was one of the first big point guards. Big prime. When I think about him running with Gail Goodrich, when I think about him, I'm thinking about the other guy he ran with before he got Gail Goodrich. Why can't I remember his name? But the guy that I'm thinking about that he ran with before Gail Goodrich. Man. I'm just having a hard time putting Jerry West in the top 5 point guards of all time. Because when I think about the point guards that I saw, like I said, I didn't see Chamberlain, but I did see footage of Jerry West. And I did see footage of that. That doesn't negate how good Jerry West was. I mean, like I've said this in the past. We're talking about a guy who, he won the Finals MVP and they lost. He averaged almost 40 a game in the finals that year that they lost to the Celtics. And he won the Finals MVP. So I can't discount how good Jerry West was. No, I can't. But with that being said, when I think about the better point guards, and I just got a hard time putting him ahead of Isaiah Thomas. I just got a hard time putting him ahead of John Stockton. I just do. Nate, no, we don't suck. Kind of suck. What does that mean, kind of suck? That's like saying, yo, you kind of whack. I ain't saying you completely whack, but you all kind of whack, though. I'm just saying. You kind of whack. We ain't kind of whack. Yo, we're going to be better this season. Steph is not more clutch than Magic Johnson, Nate. He is not. Well, I don't even know if I don't know if Isaiah is a better defender, but I think he's a better all-around floor leader than Jerry West. Absolutely. I do believe that. I think he had better playmaker than Jerry West. I do think he was a better defender than Jerry West. He was a better passer than Jerry West. I don't think he was a better clutch player than Jerry West. Jerry West was a better scorer. I will give you that. Jerry West was absolutely a better scorer. I think Jerry West was a better clutch player than Isaiah Thomas and John Stockton and Steph Curry. So you can't see. Here's the thing, Brian. What I can't do is I can't compare Steph Curry with Damian Lillard because I watched them in the playoffs. And I watched Steph Curry dominate this dude. So I know you love him. And I know you think that he's awesome. I love Dame Lillard. I got a Dame Lillard jersey in my closet. You can't get me to tell you anything that Dame does better than Steph Curry. You can't. Because he doesn't do anything, in my opinion, better. Now, there are some things that Dame does that are comparable, but I don't think that Steph Curry is comparable completely to Dame Lillard. I don't. What it does say, Brooklyn, is that longevity means something. Passing him in points means that to be able to do something for that long at that level, that says everything about who you are. Because I've said this in the past, I'm a huge fan of sustainability. If you're great, you're not great, in my opinion, if you're only great for 3 years or for 5 years. When you're great for a decade, when you're great for 12 years, that means something. James has been arguably the best player in the NBA for almost 15 years. He's been in that conversation as the best player in the game. One of the 3 to 5 best players in the game for the last 15 years. That means something, man. That does mean something. Absolutely. Like, think about Brooklyn's very own. Think about, and I'm gonna kick it with my man Brooklyn for a second. Think about rap dudes. A lot of people don't like Drake. Drake been around for like the last 10 summers, and he been hot for like the last 10 summers. You might not feel Drake, but you can't deny his continued success and his longevity. You can't deny that. That's a big deal. So when you're doing something for that long, at that level, it says everything about you as a professional. Everything. I do think that, and it's going to take some time with the Lakers to work this out. But I think that they will get this together, and the reason why is because they're clear on why we're here. This isn't a situation where, I'm trying to get my points, or I need to get this, or I need to get that. We're very clear on what exactly it is we're doing here. Very clear. No, I don't think Chris Webber was LeBron before LeBron. No, Leo, I haven't. I have not watched the Premier League. But I did hear that Ronaldo's going back to Man U. I did hear that. I don't eat fast food. I practice the vegan lifestyle, sir. I've been vegan for a little over a year now. So, who is the best 6 man of all times? I think it's Ginobili, in my opinion. I will tell you this, Mr. Lloyd. When I was in Ireland, this was in 1999. I don't know anything about rugby at that point, but I'm in Ireland. It's in 1999, and the World Cup is in England. And this was the first time I had watched rugby. And there's this team called the All Blacks. I'm clueless about the All Blacks. I don't know who they are. I don't know who they are or what they're doing. They got a guy on their team. He's got a patch of hair right in the middle of his right here. He don't got no hair nowhere else. His name is Jonah Lomu. These guys get in a formation and they get in this chant, "Oh, Uba, oh, Uba." I was like, what the hell is this? I wanted to go play rugby just off of watching that. I thought it was some of the most. I was thinking to myself, why isn't this in America? This is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. And there were people over there that were saying to me, like, because I don't know who the All Blacks are. They were saying to me, like, not knowing who the All Blacks are is like not knowing who the Cowboys are. You don't know who the Lakers are? How do you not know who the All Blacks are? I had no idea. I was completely clueless. Oh man, it was incredible. I think it's going to be a minute, T-Mac, before the Spurs, because they're in rebuild mode. Not only are they in rebuild mode, but I'm not ready to say completely that the game is past Pop by. However, I am going to say that we're getting close to that time where it's about time for Pop to wrap it up. We're getting close to that time. Thank you, sir. I watched one game of Gaelic football, and I don't really know much about it. I didn't know much about it when I was there, which was also crazy because I watched one of the games on TV. These guys had day jobs and they playing in arenas like Giant Stadium in Foxborough, and these dudes got day jobs. It was incredible. I played basketball over there in the Irish Basketball League. Not much longer, Joey. Maybe a season. I think after this season, if they don't make the playoffs, I think that if Minnesota doesn't make the playoffs this season, I wouldn't be surprised because we'll be going into year 7. He came in 15. Yeah, we'll be going into year 7. If they don't make the playoffs this year, I think he asks out after this season. But sure, I think Luka has to change his game, man. I do. I think Luka has to change his philosophy. I think he has to change his game. Luka looks like a difficult guy to play with. He just does. I averaged almost 20 a game. The year I played over there. I averaged almost 20 a game. No, Pedro was not ahead of his time. Pedro was a part of that Euro influx when the game was changing and these guys were coming in and the Euros were just basically taking over the game. And I don't think Pedro was ahead of his time shooting the long ball because, you had guys in the game shooting the long ball. Pedro was one of the best in the game, but he was a part of that. I lived in Sligo, Adam. I don't know if James deserved that 2018 league MVP. However, I am having a difficult time with arguably the best player in the game from the last league MVP James saw was in 2013. So we're talking almost 9 years. And then since from today to 2013, so it's 8 years, James has been the best player or the second best player in the game. And this dude hasn't seen a league MVP in 8 seasons. I had a problem with that. I still haven't gotten a satisfactory answer on why that is. Still, to this day. Top 10 players who didn't win a ring, past or present. Let's see. Malone, Iverson, Ewing, Russell Westbrook Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul, they ain't on the list because they still playing. But Cameron, that voter fatigue, I can appreciate the voter fatigue, but 8 years now? So we're talking almost a decade. This dude ain't seen the league MVP in 8 years, and he's been arguably the best player in the game for 8 seasons? Where they doing that at? Let me ask you this question, Cam. In pro football, who wins the league MVP? Maybe you guys can help me out with this. In pro football, who wins the league MVP? That's what I'd like to know from you guys. In pro football, who wins it? Not this year, but when the league, the quarterback. So the best quarterback. In baseball, who wins the league MVP? Jalen Mills. Absolutely. It's the best player on the best team. That's the criteria. That sounds like a criteria to me. All right. So it's the quarterback or the best player on the best team. Right? Okay. So in baseball, who wins the league MVP? I'm going to get with Jay in a minute. Jay Lowe's, I'm going to get with you in a minute. In baseball, it's the best player. I don't care where you finished. Your team could have finished in 3rd place. They could have finished in 5th place. In baseball, it's the best player, period. Whoever the best player is, that's the league MVP. In AL and in the NL. In pro basketball, who is the league MVP? So we still haven't gotten a satisfactory answer on what it is. Right. There we go. I don't know. The most popular player. We don't know who it. I don't know who it is neither. Is it the best player on the best team? Is it the guy who's the most valuable to his team's success? Is it the guy who's playing the best? Is it the best player in the game? I mean, which one is it? Who is the league MVP? So let me get with Jay, Mr. Jay Louse. He said, so which one of those from 2014 to 20 until now should James have been the league MVP? I'll give you KD's 14. I think he was second in the league in scoring. Oklahoma City finished number 1 in the Western Conference. He went 50, 40, 90 that year. I'll give you that one. Steph in 15, I think he led the league in scoring. I think Golden State finished with either the number 1 or the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. I'll give you that one. 16, he was the best player on the best team. The unanimous part, I'm having trouble with that. I am having some trouble with that right there. But, okay, I'll give you that one, 73-9. 17, Russell Westbrook. This is where it starts to get murky for me. You're giving it to Russ with on a team that finished, I think they finished 6th in the West. Russ averaged a triple-double, and that's significant. Why? The reason why that's significant is because so which year did he lead the league? Was it 15 or 16 was the year he led the league in scoring? Because I know it was one of them seasons. It was either 15 or 16 that he led the league in scoring. Which one was it? So I'm clear. So it was 16. Okay. Was it 15 or 16? Russ led it in 15. Steph led it in 6. Okay, I knew it was one of those two. So he led the league in scoring in 16. They were 73-9. They were the best team in the game. All right, so again, now back to Russ winning it in 17. I'll actually give you. And Jay, this is my logic. There is no other sport where the best player in the game for 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, there is no other sport, football, baseball, hockey, where the best player does not see a league MVP for almost a decade. That doesn't happen in any other sport. None. So it was 16. I thought it was 15. So it was 16. And they were 73-9. He led the league in scoring. Okay, I can get with that logic. Mm-hmm. So then maybe 15 is the one. I'm okay with Leonard winning it in 17. I got a problem with Russ winning the league MVP in 17. I just do. His team finished in 6th place in the West. Okay. Exactly, Squid. If the standard was him winning the league MVP being based on him averaging a triple-double, didn't he do that 3 more times? Which means that he should have 3 more league MVPs. Is that correct? Or am I bugging out? Straighten me out. Not just lowest seed MVP ever, Zip. Rewind the clock back to 1989. Jordan went almost 33, 8-8. The Bulls finished 6th in the Eastern Conference. He ain't sniffed the league MVP that year. He ain't sniff it. What's the narrative on a dude? How are we talking about a dude today going almost 33, 8-8? How are we talking about him running around here? But Cam, just so you know, Oscar went 30, 10-9 for 8 straight seasons. 8 straight. I think the year he won the league MVP, he averaged 29. Hey Ray, don't stop with 25, 10, and 8, and he didn't win the league MVP. He led the league in assists. He ain't just averaged 25 and 10. He led the league in assists. And they still gave it to somebody else. Which I said, and I'm sticking to my guns here. I said this before the 2021 season started. I said this. I said, if LeBron James leads the league in assists, he's going to win the league MVP and they win in the NBA championship. He was absolutely on his way to doing that before COVID shut the season down. Ramon, what's up, brother? How you doing? No, he doesn't. Remind me of Colin Kaepernick Davis. No, he does not. I watched Colin Kaepernick throughout his career, and the thing that bothered me the most about Colin, and it still bothers me to this day, he didn't do his homework. He didn't, and it was obvious. Zip, go from 60, it was 61 to 69. Oscar went 30, 10, and 9. 30, 10, and 9. And the year that he won the league MVP, he didn't average a triple-double. Most improved. The kid from, I'll tell you what, Brian, the kid from Houston, Wood, he was actually on his way to doing it this last season before he got hurt. Him and Jeremy Grant. No, sir, I'm not. I am heterosexual. Why do you ask? I do think the Rockets are in a good spot. I do. I think they'll be better than what they were last year. What I mean, Sean, is he didn't adjust to the game. He just looked like he was showing up. His reads were the same as they were the year before. The mistakes that he was making were the same as 2 years ago. He was still doing the same thing. He wasn't doing his homework. And it was showing, which was why he was regressing, which was why the league caught up to him. I do think LeBron will, I think he'll pass Jabbar. To give you an idea, Rod, over the next, what are we in? We're going into the 21-22 season. Over the next 2 seasons, James is a little over 1,500 points behind Jabbar. He's got to average 18 over the next 2 years, and he'll pass both Malone and Jabbar. Can he do that? Over the next 2 seasons, that's all he's got. He's just got to average 18 a game. Okay, freak. Hold on. Let's talk with Mr. Tiki. Number one, Hakeem did not win the league MVP in '95. That's number one. They won the NBA championship. David Robinson won the league MVP that year. Number two, that Rockets team was way better. That Rockets team was better because they were together longer. So that doesn't work. No, sir. Absolutely not. I don't think Clay is the second best shooter ever. That honor still goes to Ray Allen to me. I still think Ray is the best catch and shoot, but an overall shooter, no. What do you mean I'm not making sense whatsoever? I just told you what it was. Hakeem Olajuwon did not win the league MVP. And they didn't have the same numbers. Russ went 30, 10, and 11. Olajuwon didn't go 30, 10, and 11. Hakeem had a great supporting cast around him. Westbrook had bums. Okay, so the fact that he had a better team, so why didn't Olajuwon? I personally thought Olajuwon should have won the league MVP that year. He actually had the same numbers as David Robinson, but he missed more games. What is your logic with Russell Westbrook winning the league MVP? Because my logic is when the league MVP is handed out, more times than not, this is one of the criteria with the league MVP. Your team has to be really good. So to win the league MVP as a 6 seed, I have not seen that in my lifetime. I have not. And then the logic is he won it because he averaged a triple-double. Well, we got two problems. Because they were older, they were better. They won the NBA championship, Teak. What are you talking about? Yes, they were better. They won the NBA championship. The Oklahoma City Thunder didn't get out of the first round of the playoffs. He had a better team. But again, when they're handing out the league MVP, let me make sure that I'm getting this correct. When they hand out the league MVP, I haven't seen a player win the league MVP with his team being under a 3 seed. I haven't seen that. Not in my lifetime. So that's one criteria. And you have to be doing work too on that team. See, but Gerger, I can appreciate that it didn't happen in the past 40 years. Right. So if it didn't happen in the past 40 years, the guy who did it 40 years ago, he didn't win the league MVP. That's number one. And number two, did I forget about what? The problem I have with that logic is the year Oscar averaged a triple. That's what I'm getting to. The problem I have with that logic is the year Oscar averaged a triple-double, he didn't lead the league in scoring, which is why he didn't win. Westbrook led the league in scoring in 17. So that's why he won it, because he led the league in scoring. It's not because he averaged a triple-double, it's because he led. So in addition to averaging a triple-double, he led the league in scoring. So that's a criteria then. So him averaging a triple-double doesn't matter. The fact that he led the league in scoring. Well, the problem that I'm having with that is because now we stacking the deck. If you lead the league in scoring, so because now what we're doing is we're moving the goalposts. You average a triple-double. Okay, that's not good enough, but you led the league in scoring. There are other factors into it too. Yes, triple-doubles. Nah, it's the 6'3" thing. I'm not listening to that. That whole nope. That he's being small and all of that. Because now what we're doing is we turning this into something else. Well, let's say that because he's 6'3" and he ain't 6'5", we got to take that into account. Because now we're moving the goalposts. I do think the Rockets would have beat them. I do think that. Gage, I think Ohtani's gonna win the AL MVP. If he had a better ERA, he'd be the Cy Young winner too. I wouldn't be surprised if he's right up there in the Cy Young talks though. What kind of question is that? Why aren't other 6'3" point guards like him dominating like he is with triple doubles if it's not a good reason? That's your logic? He's got to be the MVP because he's 6'3" and no other 6'3" guy is doing that. Well, no other 6'10" guy is doing what Giannis is doing. So does that mean that Giannis got to be the league MVP? No. Anthony Davis wasn't, even though Giannis did win the league MVP, that wasn't the reason why. It wasn't because he was 6'10". Nobody else was doing what he was doing. I think it could have went to Leonard, and I think it should have went to James. Those are the two guys, Leonard or James. Those were my two guys, Leonard or James. I don't think Russ should have. Even though Russ led the league in scoring. No, I don't think that Russ. could have been the league MVP. Should have been the league MVP. That award, Leonard was on a better team. James was on a better team. I'm not moving the goalposts. How am I moving the goalposts? The league MVP in my lifetime has always gone to the guy who, at minimum, is on a really good team. I've always said that. I'm not just saying that because Russ wasn't on a good team. That is one of the criteria. You have to be on a good team. It can't. I think that they gave it to Russ because he was playing the best. I do think that. But hoops, the problem that I'm having with averaging a triple-double is the guy who averaged the triple-double did not win the league MVP. So that doesn't really hold a lot of weight with me. See, okay, now we making sense now. Okay, so now we're defining it. So the guy who had the best individual season, which means the guy who's playing the best. Forget what your team is doing. Forget what they're doing in the playoffs. Who is playing the best? That's the league MVP. That's what they do in base. So that's basically who had the best season. Now we got a criteria. I can get with that logic, even though, I mean, Leonard had a really good season that year too. James went, 26-7 and 26-7 and 8 that year? See, at least what we can do, if we're doing that, the team that you're on shouldn't matter. If we're doing that, that means that if we taking out who the team was, or the team that you're on, if we taking that out, James should absolutely have more league MVPs. Jabbar should have more league MVPs. Jordan should have more league MVPs. If Giannis would have won the league MVP this year, just for the record, if Giannis would have won the league MVP this year, he'll never win it again. He would have never won it again, ever. No question about it. Now, when you say who performed the best, I do think Rondo was a good pickup for the Lakers. Yes, I do. I do think that. Kobe in your top 10 now? Why would Kobe be in my top 10 now? Uh-oh. Hang on. Before I lose you guys. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Jalen, I just got questioned by Tiki. We just got finished talking about who should have won the league MVP. So those years where Shaq came in the league in 92, right? What years do you think Shaq should have won the league MVP? We'll get to that in a little bit, Sean. Hang on. Because you've been making videos on TikTok reacting to others putting him instead of Bill Russell. Because you've been making videos on TikTok reacting to other people putting him. No, those people are reacting to me. So he did win it in 2000. So he should have won it in 99. You think he should have won it in 99? You think he should have won it in 2001? You think he should have won it in 03? So from 2000 to 2004, he should have won it. So Tim Duncan shouldn't have won it in 02. Tim Duncan shouldn't have won it. Even though I thought Jason Kidd was going to win it in 02. I thought he had the biggest impact on any of those guys. But I want to get back to hang on for a second. Is your concern of Westbrook not being the MVP as well because of his team getting bounced? No. Well, that logic doesn't hold up, Tiki, because I mean, Joker didn't lose in the first round. I mean, they did win the playoff series. They did beat Portland in round one, getting swept out the playoffs. And we all know that the league MVP is a regular season award. I thought that Joel Embiid was going to win it, but I want to get back to what you just got finished saying. It wasn't because Russ got bounced in the first round. No, the logic was the reason why he won it was because what he had done hadn't been done in over 40 years. He averaged a triple-double. That was, and my issue was the guy who averaged a triple-double didn't win the league MVP. And there were guys who were just as impactful, if not more impactful, to their teams. And then we got a guy who, in LeBron James, who is arguably the best player in the game, who has not seen a league MVP. At that point, in year 4 now, where this dude has not seen a league MVP. So I don't see why not, Cameron. I don't see why he can't do it this season. Just so you know, Hoops, that year that Shaq averaged 27 and 11, he missed. I think Shaq missed 20 games that season. Yeah, I think he missed 15 games that season. Duncan played the entire season, and not only did Duncan play the entire season, I think San Antonio finished. I think they finished with the second best record in the Western Conference. Yeah. Well, he would have won it this year, Cameron, had he not gotten hurt. Before he got hurt, he was 30 and 11. So, and I think they in those 3 weeks or that month, I think they were like 5 or 6 games over 500 when he wasn't playing. So that didn't help. So, Christopher, you think it maybe was him? So you think it was what the voters were being a little more nostalgic and sensitive to him? You know, KD left, and this guy still threw the team on his back, and they still ended up making the playoffs. Maybe we should just give it to him. You think that was the logic? I mean, if that's true, that's super corny, yo, to do something like that. That's super corny to do that. Because what it's doing is it's taking away from his production. You know, he really ain't that good, but you know, the best player on the team left, and he still was able to get them to the playoffs, and he had a really good season. He done something that hasn't been done in 40 years. This would be a great opportunity for us to sell this. It does sell. It's corny though, but it does sell. No, I don't agree that Magic and LeBron plays like Magic and Wilkins had a baby. No, I don't. Which goes back to your original logic that nobody had a better individual season. So it doesn't matter what your team did. What did you do? You basically had the best individual season. So The fact that you had the best individual season, and I see you, Sean. I haven't forgotten about you. Because you had the best individual season, you should be the league MVP. Who do I think is the most skilled player ever? There's a number of different guys. Bird's in that conversation. Steve Nash. James is in that conversation. Jordan is in that conversation. I did know that Jamal Crawford has the most 4-point plays in the history of the NBA. And since we're on the subject of 60, I did watch him. Brooklyn, what's up, brother? Who wins the ship next year? The Lakers, Bucks, or Brooklyn? If the Lakers are in it, I think they win it. But my money is on Milwaukee to go back. They're the champs, and until somebody beats them, I think they're going back to the NBA championship. Absolutely, Hoops. I do think that James is a better passer than Kobe Bryant. I think he's a better playmaker than Kobe Bryant. He's a better scorer than Kobe Bryant. He's an all-around better player than Kobe Bryant, in my opinion. I'm listening, T. Julian, that's why I didn't answer that question. Because we all know that Kobe Bryant is better than Kyrie Irving. We all know that. Right, Kate? Okay, so now we all have, it looks like we're having different criteria. So KTK, the most valuable. So that means that who's the most valuable to their team's success? That's a criteria. That's important. All right. If you wasn't on the crew, how would we do? I don't think Oscar averaged a triple-double that year in 62. But there were guys who had better seasons than Bill Russell did that year. I don't think Kobe's got better footwork. I don't think he's got a better handle than James. No, I don't believe that. I do not believe that at all. No, I do not believe that he's got a better handle. I don't see James getting ripped a lot. I don't see James making a lot of mistakes with the basketball, even though he's got the most turnovers in league history. I think Bryant is 4th, something like that. But I don't think that you probably think that do you think Kobe is a better player than James? Because when I think about the 2018 season, I'm thinking about what he did. That roster got flipped in the summer of 17. He had six or seven new guys on that roster in 17. Right? It wasn't working. There was a time I remember James saying during that season, he said, quote, "I don't think we should be on TV anymore." That's how bad they were. So fast forward to the trade deadline. That roster gets flipped again. So now he's got 6 new guys. They still managed to finish 4. He still manages to get that team to the 4th seed. Not only to the 4th seed, but he got them to the NBA Finals with that roster. That may be true, Christopher. Absolutely. Like who, Gerald? Like who? I don't know, Cameron. What was that? 20? Was that 2018? Because to be honest with you, that was the year. Didn't I'll talk to you about Shaq in a minute. Didn't James Harden have the most 40-point triple doubles that year? I think he led the league in assists that year too. I do think that. Shaq was brute force, Rollins. That's what he was. He was something that like I said, I wasn't around when Chamberlain was playing. I wasn't around. I didn't see Chamberlain playing. But so Russ led the league in assists that year. James was if James didn't lead the league in assists, he was right there. He was either 2 or right in that area. Sean, I haven't forgotten about you. I promise. I have not, and I will get to you. But like I was saying, Shaq was brute force. And Shaq had, for a guy his size, Shaq had a really good set of skills in terms of his footwork. His footwork was good. His footwork was really good. He had his offensive arsenal. He didn't have to use it a lot because he was just bigger and stronger than most guys. So he didn't have to go into his bag a lot. But when he did have to go into his bag, Shaq had a lot of things in his game offensively. I would have loved to have seen Shaq be a better defender and a better rebounder. Because, I mean, to see guys like Olajuwon and to see guys like Jabbar, I still think that Shaq could have been better on the other side of the basketball. You think if LeBron gets MVP, defensive player? Oh, absolutely it does, Gertz. Because now if he's the league MVP and the defensive player of the year, that's only 3. Yeah, that's 3 guys in the history of the NBA. That would have been 3 guys in the history of the NBA that did that in the same year. That would be Jordan, Olajuwon, and James. Nobody else did that. Nobody. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't, Rollins. I think the Suns I think they're going to be a top 5 team in the West. I think it's going to be hard to get back to the finals. I do. I think it's going to be really difficult for them to get back to the finals because the better teams in the Western Conference have gotten better. And I mean, I think the Clippers take a step back because of no Leonard. I do think that. I think the Warriors take a step forward. I think Denver's going to be better. I think the Lakers are going to be better. I think Utah's going to be back. I think it's going to be hard on Phoenix this season. Giannis too, Ali. I left Giannis out. Giannis won the league MVP and the defensive player of the year. Olajuwon, Jordan, Giannis, and James. But he's talking about in 2013, if James would have won that, would it have helped his GOAT case? Well, sure it would have, because at that point, he would have been only the 3rd guy to ever do that. So, yeah. I know you. I know where you're going with this, and I just think David Robinson was better than Moses. I do. I think he was a better offensive player than Moses. I think he was a better defensive player than Moses. I think Moses was a better rebounder. I do think that, but I think David Robinson was a better offensive player. He was a better athlete. He was a better defensive player, even though Moses did make the All-League defensive team a couple times. I think David Robinson was better. He was. I did hear about that lawsuit with Nerlens Noel. It's not. Make sure we clear, Hoops. It's not David Robinson and Moses. It's not Moses and David Robinson. It's right there. You can make an argument for each of those guys. Dominated Jabbar in the NBA Finals in '83. Dominated them. 20 and 24 in Game 4. They swept them out the playoffs. Swept them out the playoffs. And now I got to listen to Jalen Rose tell me that LeBron doesn't deserve to be the second best player of all time because there are people who ate on his watch. Well, people ate on Magic's watch. People ate on Bird's watch. People ate on Jabbar's watch. People ate on Bill Russell's watch. People ate on Chamberlain's watch. You cannot compare prime Giannis and prime. Oh, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. I thought that was D Rose, not D Rob. That's who Giannis looks like to me. That's a good comparison. Giannis and David Robinson. I think Giannis was a little bit better on the perimeter. I think David Robinson had a better mid-range game than Giannis because David Robinson had a money mid-range game. Just so you know, he could knock down the 15 to 18-footer with no problem. He didn't have the handle that Giannis had. He wasn't leading the break, even though he could put it on the floor. You can make that argument. You can make that argument, Rollins. But if that's the case, it's not by much, man. It ain't. It's not like Giannis and David Robinson. It's more like Giannis. And what does he do better than David Robinson? I think he got a better handle. He's pretty unstoppable going to the basket. I mean, he'll go after you. No doubt about that. No, I don't think they overrate them. And I mean, a lot of those guys, to be quite honest with you, I don't think that they're past their prime. AD is the key to this team's success. If he could stay upright, I don't see anybody beating them 4 times in 7 games. I just don't. Because the Brooklyn Nets, they don't have nobody to deal with AD. Nobody. As good as Brooklyn is with the 3 of those guys, Irv, KD, and James Harden, they don't have nobody to deal with Anthony Davis. Nobody. Veteran, I wouldn't be surprised if he was right there in the league. Because let's make sure that we clear. Don't forget not in the 19-20 season before COVID shut the season down. He was leading the Lakers in scoring. He was averaging 26 a game, 26-9. When's the last time the best player on the number one on the best team in the NBA, not the best team in the conference, they were the best team in the league, not been the league MVP, or at the top of that list? Anthony Davis wasn't in the conversation. It was James. Good edits. Yeah, I've been in TikTok jail for the last 3 days because apparently I responded to a video and I was explaining how the question was the last 15 and you're down 15 points at the half, which guy you choosing? And there was a box. There was James, there was Jordan, there was Bird, there was Wade, and I picked James and Jordan, and I said why. Well, the video got flagged for hate speech. I'm thinking, hate speech? What the hell? And I've been in TikTok jail for the last 3 days. So why is Malone my favorite power forward of all times? He revolutionized the 4 spot. Absolutely. He revolutionized it. I loved everything about his game, his mid-range, his transition game, him being a defender, his ability to rebound. I love everything about his game. Everything. James, when James retires, him going to Cleveland for the last time, yeah. I disagree, Jalen. I think it's about James Harden for that Brooklyn team. Juwan, I like Rondo going back to the Lakers. I do. He gives them he gives them another vet that they need. I do like him going back to the Lakers. I'm digging that. No, I don't think Evan Mobley is the next Hakeem Olajuwon, but I do think that he's going to be really good. I do think that. I think he could end up playing the most seasons ever, Zip, because to be honest with you, I think he's waiting for Bronny Jr. Because I think he's going to pass Jabbar in the next 2 years. If he can hold on until Bronny Jr. shows up, that would be incredible. I always felt like that, veteran. I always felt like, why isn't Russ a better defender than what he is? I always thought that he should have been a perennial all-league defender. I mean, if Kyle Lowry could be an all-league defender, Chris Paul can be an all-league defender, why isn't Russ a better defender than what he is? I always thought that. OG, the best two-way player in your opinion? In today's game, in my opinion, in today's game, it's Leonard. All time I've always felt like it was James or Jordan. I just didn't understand why he isn't an all-league, a perennial all-league defender. If Jason Kidd can be that, if Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry, if these guys can be perennial all-league defenders, why isn't Russ on the all-league defensive team regularly? Thanks, Lennox. That's a good question. I don't think he was. I don't think he came into the league as a transition player because he came into the league as a two guard who transitioned to the point because he had to sit behind Drew Holiday when he was in UCLA. And that's really important, John. He's not a second effort defender. So essentially, Russ is the defender who, once he gets beat, he makes no effort to get back into the play. He's finished. That's who Russ is as a defender. That's interesting. That is really interesting. I think Scotty's a better overall player than Kawhi Leonard. I do think that, yes. I think Scotty is a better overall player than Kawhi Leonard. I do think that. I think Kawhi is a better scorer than Scotty, but I think overall Leonard is. I think overall Scotty is a better overall player. I think he's a better playmaker. I think he's a better distributor. I think he's a better on-ball defender. I actually think he's a better defender, to be quite honest with you. Well, Cameron, Leonard really didn't lead the team to that to the NBA championship. They were already, for example, that Toronto team. You are aware that they did win 59 games the year before that, and all they did was switch out one guy. That was DeMar DeRozan and Leonard. They ended up trading Gasol and Valanciunas. They ended up trading Valanciunas for Gasol, but for the most part, that whole unit was back. That entire unit came back. They switched out one primary guy. So it wasn't like he got on the unit and that was teetering. They had the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference the year before. The best 1 through 5 defenders ever. Gary Payton at the 1. Jordan at the 2. Scottie Pippen at the 3. Dennis Rodman at the 4. Olajuwon at the 5. Okay, his defense against Giannis. Let's dead that, Cameron, because what they did was they built a wall against Giannis. That was coaching. And Bledsoe couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. They built the wall against Giannis, and they told Bledsoe, "You got to shoot the basketball." In fact, not only do you have to shoot the basketball, the rest of y'all got it. Middleton, you got to shoot the basketball too, and they couldn't. That was the difference. Oh, did I read that wrong? Yes, Rodman over KG. Yes, sir. Who can play all 5 positions? The best defender? That's a good one. That's a really good one. Well, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. Had he won it, what case could you make for anybody else? If the Jazz would have beat the Bulls in back-to-back seasons, what case could you make for anybody else? And Malone continued to do what he was doing. They won it in 97 and they won it in 98. And he continued to do what he was doing, became the 2nd all-time leading scorer in NBA history, top 10 in rebounds, and all-league defender. What case could you have made for anybody else? The No Name Podcast. LeBron is 15th all-time. So let me ask you this question. Name the 14 guys ahead of him. I'm listening to the No Name Podcast. I hope I'm not listening to a troll, but I think I am listening to a troll. I am going to help him, but I want to talk to you. Name 14 guys better than James. Name them. Yes, Retro, he did. That's what I figured. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't bugging out. No, I don't think that, KT. No, I don't. He's not in my top 25 yet, Josh. Not yet. When you talk about the better power forwards in the game of all time. I mean, sure, he's a 2-time league MVP, but the thing that needs to be recognized when it comes to Giannis that we have not fully grasped, Giannis just got nice. All right. You guys are quick to jump on a guy who is doing something great for a short period of time. Just so you know, Giannis is first team All NBA over the last 3 seasons, not 10 years, not 7 years, over the last 3 seasons. That's it. Giannis made the All-Star team over the last 5 years. He a top 25 player already? Man. If he could continue doing what he's doing over the next 5 years, win another league MVP, be first team All NBA over the next 5 years, we absolutely having this conversation. Hell yeah, we are. I think Giannis is a better player in his prime. Now, Josh, make sure we clear, man. I'm not discrediting Giannis because what he's doing is super dope. You know what I equated to, Josh? You know that chick that you running around with? Yo, she's great. She's doing everything great. She's beautiful. She checks all the boxes. You only been hanging around for like 6 months, though. I mean, you ready to marry her already? You just started hanging around her. And you like she's been doing this for the last 8 or 9 years. I mean, you just started hanging around this chick. So well, Ball, you gotta. Is there a way to balance what it is that you're doing here? You know, because you got to prioritize what it is. You know, school comes number one, basketball, and chicks. Because I mean, I didn't have a girlfriend until I was a senior in high school. I didn't have and you know, you got a girl that's begging you to spend time with her. So what's more important to you? Because if that stuff is more important to you, maybe you shouldn't have a girl. Maybe having a girlfriend at this time ain't good for you. That's not to say that you should never have a girl, but maybe just at this time, it's not a good time for you. Bobart, are you asking me about the 16 Warriors, the 73-9 Warriors? Is that who you're asking me about? Hold on. OG, can you explain to me this narrative of yours that if Embiid wouldn't have gotten hurt when Jokic was leading the MVP tracker when he got hurt and in March? Why was Joker leading the MVP tracker? Yeah. Embiid was 30-11. Philadelphia was in first place in the Eastern Conference. Why was that? Goes back to what the criteria is. Was Joker more valuable to what they were doing? And it didn't help. Like I said, when Embiid got hurt, Philly was still winning. Now, if you take Joker out of that lineup, maybe Denver goes the other way. Which goes back to my original statement about what exactly is the criteria? Is the guy who's the most valuable to his team's success? Embiid was the best player on the best team in the Eastern Conference. I mean, this guy was almost 30-11, and they were in first place. And there were plenty of people who were talking about him. I was one of those people who were talking about him. I thought that he was going to win the league MVP. No doubt about it. No doubt. I personally think that it's the guy who I think what MVP, the criteria is exactly what it says. The guy who's the most valuable to his team's success. Because the best player is the best player. That's not the most valuable player. That's the best player. Who is the guy who he's the engine that makes us go? Without him, we finished. And how well does he do when we're playing? What are we doing when he's on the floor? How is he contributing to our success? I'm contributing offensively. I'm contributing defensively. I'm contributing in all aspects of the game. I don't think Chris Paul is a top 3 point guard all time. I don't. Mm-mm. Mm. What did I miss? Whose galaxy's apart? No, I don't. That's not it at all. I don't. The thing about boring and flashy, no, I don't do that whole boring and flashy because I think Tim Duncan is the best power forward ever, and he was vanilla. So I don't get into the media narrative of what a guy is. I'm going off what Embiid was doing. Embiid was 30-11. They were in first place, and that was largely due to him. Now, Denver was in third place in the Western Conference, and that was largely due to Joker. But that team wasn't as good as Philly. So, yeah. You could say that. Yeah. You absolutely could say that. Well, once again, random. That logic right there is that's the guy who has the best season. That's not the best player, and that's not the guy who's the most valuable to his team's success. That's the guy who had the best season. That's the league MVP. That's what that sounds like. So, and for me, my logic for the league MVP is the guy who is the most valuable to his team's success. What happens if this dude ain't in the lineup? How are we doing? What are we doing when he is in the lineup? So, for example, I'll give you an example. You guys are real critical of Rudy Gobert and him being a defender. Rudy Gobert, when he's in the lineup defensively, the Utah Jazz are third in the NBA defensively as a team. Take Rudy Gobert out of that lineup, they're 27th as a defensive team. This is what I'm talking about when how important he is the most valuable to that team's success defensively. Without him, they are trash defensively. So I don't know if he's a playoff liability, Cameron. I just think that was a bad matchup with. That was a real bad matchup with that Clipper team. And same thing happened in 07 with Dirk. If the Golden State Warriors, if Dallas don't have to see the Golden State Warriors, I think they back in the finals in 07. I do. I think that they're back in the finals in 07. That was a terrible matchup for them. Terrible. Of all the teams that they didn't need to see, they need to see Golden State. So, excuse me. So, all right, guys, it's about that time. I'm gonna get back on again. What's today? Today is Sunday. I'll be back on later on in the week, probably Tuesday, or if not Tuesday, then definitely Wednesday. I'll be back on, and we'll get this back cracking again. So it was good to see you guys, and again, it's always good to see you. So take it light, but take it.